Okay. So I hope, Ronald, you're done with your uh, midterm exam, and of course yung ano, no, yung ano, um, final quiz one, no? Kasi sa time frame natin, supposedly this is the week that you should have taken it, no? So if not, kindly take your final quiz one so that tuloy-tuloy na no, yung uh, okay. So anyways, our final exams are, wait lang, let me just get the schedule para reminded ka no, of our schedule. So, ayan. So, make sure lang na to follow this schedule. It's available in the VC. Okay, so final quiz 1 is March 28 to April 2, and then final quiz 2 is April 6 to April 13. And then, of course, your final exam is on the 18th to 20. Okay, so kindly finish all of these so that hindi na tayo, ano, no, technically wala nang deliverables on your end as well. All right, so moving forward, let's start. Ay, sorry. No. Ayun. Okay. Ba't bigla ko lang. Anyways, so yun nga. Art may be considered as one of the earliest activities of man, and man could draw long before he could write. We have no record of how man spoke 20,000 years ago, but what we do know is that he used no drawing to communicate certain ideas. Now, there are different types of art in terms of architecture and painting. So let's start with Baroque art. Baroque art, as a style of architecture, prevailed in Europe during 17th and 18th century and was characterized by elaborate and grotesque forms and ornamentation. So this is a sample of Baroque art. No, you get Baroque architecture as seen in Saint Peter's Basilica, no, in Vatican City in Rome. In terms of painting naman, Baroque painting is characterized by movement, energy, and restlessness, as you see here in the sample. The composition of Baroque painting employs diagonal and zigzag lines that best express the vitality and movement quality of the Baroque art. Just like what you see here in the Massacre of the Innocents by Peter Paul Rubens. And then you also have Gothic art. Now, for Gothic art, this is a style of architecture that originated in the middle of the century. It is characterized by pointed art and deep vault, no? Gaya nung nakita nating example dito, no, ng Westminster Abbey in London. And then you have another Gothic art or architecture na yung mga Gothic cathedrals, no? Ang mga Gothic cathedrals with its high pointed spiral striding upwards na to the sky illustrates the symbol and expression of faith. All the important features of the structure serve to emphasize its verticality. No? This is what you see here in Canterbury, UK, na Gothic Cathedral. In the Philippines, no, we have San Sebastian Church, no, as an example also of a Gothic architecture. So another type of art is modern art, and modern art is characterized, no, by contemporary styles of visual art, music, and literature. It rejects traditionally accepted or sanctioned forms and emphasizes individual experimentation and sensibility. So gaya nung nakikita natin dito sa sample na Sunday on La Grande Cafe ni George Seurat, no, noong 1884 and 1886. No? This is a type of modern art. And then yung supposedly ng case study natin, no, for this week, which we will watch later, no, a documentary on this. When you talk of modern art din kasi, it's a result of various social factors at the turn of the century, no, that saw the mark and advancement of science and technology. Also, another type of art is expressionism, and expressionism as a manner of painting and sculpturing, in which unnatural forms and colors are distorted and exaggerated. Now, this style of art, which developed, no, in the 20th century, is characterized, no, by chiefly by heavy, often black lines that define form, no? Sharply contrasting often vivid colors and subjective treatment of thematic, no, materials. So gaya ng example na to, no, ni nung work ng Ashley Daisy na reproduction into um, expressionism ng work naman ni Edward Munch na The Screen. Now, another is surrealism, and surrealism as a style of art and literature is developed principally in the 20th century. Now, it stresses the subconscious or non-rational significance, no, of the imagery, automatism, or the exploitation of change, effects, unexpected juxtapositions, and symbolic objects. So, gaya ng example, no, ng work ni uh, no, ng work na to ni Salvador Dali, no, the persistence of memory. So you get to see here objects that are uh, technically ano siya, no, nagiging non-rational talaga yung depiction ng objects kasi yun yung focus ng artist. No? Like for example, yung melting clock. Hindi naman talaga nag-melt yung clock, pero ganun yung nire-represent, no, yung time. No? And the rest of the figures here that you get to have ano, you get to particularly ano din, identify them, yet uh, ginagawa ng artist ay ginagawa niya, in-exploit niya yung subject. And then, another is realism, no? Realism as an art style is concerned and centered, no, on actual or real problems. Now, it delves on the treatment of forms, colors, space, as they appear in actuality or ordinary visual experience. Gaya na lang ng portrait, no, of the mothers, of the artist mothers, no, ni James Abbott McNeill Whistler. So technically, no, this is a portrait of her mom. And then, another na example ng realism is yung Sleeping Spinner ni Gustave Courbet noong 1853. Okay? So, realism is associated, no, with social consciousness and transformation occurring during the period. No? American society, no, was then suffering from economic depression and moral decadence. And normally, kapag sinabi mo kasi realism, it depicts, no, what is happening during the time. Now, realistic painting, in which form and content, no, tries to make a moving human message, no. These are works of artists who are actually highly sensitive people, feeling and living with their society and finding art as a vehicle for communicating significant human experience that will transform now human values essentially to a truly humane society. So most realistic paintings, no, the artist would like to try to capture what is really happening, no, in that specific epoch, no, or time. So gaya na lang yung another, no, na artwork ni Gustave Courbet, yung A Burial at Ornans no 1849 to 1850. Now, another is Impressionism. And Impressionism is developed in the last third of the 19th century, no, characterized by short breath strokes or of bright colors, no, used to recreate, no, the impression of light objects. In literature, no, this is a practice, no, that emphasizes immediate aspects of objects or actions without exhaustive, no, examination. Okay, so what you have here, no, is yeah, Edward Manet's The Luncheon, no, of the Grass. Okay, so sa impressionism, ang focus is ano yung impression na ihahatid, no, doon sa ano, sa perceiver. Gaya nito, no? Kasi titignan mo, particularly, no, yung babae na kaubad siya, no? So it will give you, of course, an initial impression of well, ano kaya nangyayari, no, doon sa painting natin. Okay? So normally ganun ang ano, dating ng mga impressionist. Yung Starry Night ni Van Gogh is actually impressionist din, no? Kasi we get to ask, because of the manner by which it is created, we get to ask, ano ba, no, yung gustong iparating technically ng painting sa atin. Now, another is Cubism. And Cubism is developed in the early 20th century and characterized chiefly by an emphasis on the formal structure of a work of art and the reduction of natural forms of their geometric equivalent. So you have here violin and playing parts on a table by Wonders in 1913. Another work is yung abstract naman. And abstract is conceived apart from any concrete realities or specific objects. No? It pertains to the formal aspect of art, emphasizing lines, colors, generalized geometric forms. No? And this kind of art is a logical extension of Cubism, no, with its fragmentation of objects. So sa abstract, really, no, it's highly subjective, no, reality ng artist. How he sees it, no, based on his perspective na ng reality niya. So, another is yung mga works, no, na pag-usapan na natin, no, sa case study dito sa art app, yung mga work during Renaissance. And Renaissance was the period of economic progress where cities were built, no? The term Renaissance came from the French language meaning rebirth. And in this period, another word, no, was actually created for man. So another would be yung Vitruvian Man, no? Leonardo da Vinci. Okay? So ang focus nito is yung symmetry, no, ng katawan ng tao. And yun din yung mapapansin natin sa most Renaissance art because bumalik yung ganong tradition. So there was a classical learning no, in the study of ancient Greek and Roman texts, and the period spared enthusiasm no, for the philosophy and artistic values of the ancient. So this is what we get to see here, no? The Birth of Venus, no? Painting by Sandro Botticelli. So yung mga gods and goddesses, mythical figures, no? Nung Greek and Roman, sila rin yung naging focus, no? Nung time na to. Now, the ideals of classicism, balance, harmony, proportion, and intellectual order became the artistic standard no, during that time. This is what we get to see here, no, yung six Tuscan poets, no, by Giorgio Vasari, no, 1569. Now, an important characteristic of the period, no, during that time, would be the spirit of scientific inquiry and investigation. This new and vital approach to the materials of the world led to empiricism, which lay on the evidence of the senses. And this is why, during that time as well, no, yung depiction ng katawan ng tao is, di ba, very anatomical na, no? At talagang may siyensya, no? Sa pag-paint nila ng mga bagay. Gaya nung kay Mona Lisa, and gaya nung sa sculpture, no? Ni David, di ba? So, ganun ka intricate, no? Yung details dahil yung mga artists talagang pinag-aaralan nila kung paano nila ipapakita, no? Yung tao bilang tao na mismo, no? Hindi na siya basta representation, it's human in itself, no? Ganun yung tinatry na i-achieve. So again, the artist really strove for more naturalistic portrayal of man, and develop new techniques such as modeling, shading for a three-dimensional effect. So this is another artwork by Michelangelo Boronati, yung Pieta. And Michelangelo is the same person who created, diba, yung sculpture na David. Now, let's move on to architecture. In terms of architecture, art and science or building associated, architecture is the art and science of building associated with houses, churches, commercial buildings, or any other structures. Architecture is the art and science of designing and building structures or large groups of structures in keeping with the aesthetic and functional criteria. Isa sa mga, of course, architecture that stands no, over time is yung Pyramid of Giza. It is a gigantic scale, no? With its gigantic scale, it distinguishes now the that the Egyptian architecture was made possible not only by materials but also by a method of requiring, transporting, and raising enormous blocks of stones, no, into position. So, in terms of how these were built, of course, no, we have to recognize that really it's a product of manual labor, you know. Quarrying was done with copper tools and by use of finger wedges, which, when swollen by water, split the blocks away from the natural rock. The outstanding feature of the religion of the Egyptians was their strong belief in a future state, hence the erection of such everlasting monuments as pyramids. Okay, so the erection of such everlasting monuments really is focused on preservation of the dead, but not simply preservation of the dead. Kaya talaga nila ginagawa to kasi they believe of the afterlife. Okay, and of course, since they believe that they're uh, God kings, no, yung mga nobilities nila ay yung mga nobilities nila ay technically gods and goddesses, parang ganun. May direct line to God. Kaya ganun talaga ginagawa yan. Okay, pinipreserve nila kasi hindi makakatawid, no, sa afterlife yung mga sila, no, kung hindi nila gagawin ito. Now, another architecture is yung Greek architecture. May influence ito at up until now because you get to see yung paggamit ng columns, no, sa mga buildings. So, technically sila talaga yung pioneer, no, ng ganitong klaseng paraan ng pag-build ng structure. So, yung mga Greek, mahati mo sa dalawang period, Hellenic at Hellenistic. Sa Hellenic, ang focus nito ay pag-build ng mga temples, no, for their gods and goddesses. Okay? So, as you would see here, no, yung structure is heavily laden by bricks, no, bricks yan. And then, of course, gumamit sila ng mga columns to support yung roofing, no, ng kanilang mga temples. So, technically, gawa ito lahat sa bato. Okay? Ang service talaga ng mga temples na to during Hellenic period is to honor their gods and goddesses. Kasi bawat polis or city-state, no, may meron silang gods and goddesses na pinipatronize. Ngayon, nung Hellenistic period, nag-iba yung function, no, ng mga temples. So, originally, of course, para sa gods and goddesses, but what happened during Hellenistic period, yung mga architecture na to sinimulan ng i-replicate para gamitin naman for other purposes. Okay, naging public buildings din siya. So again, there's a temple still, but the way their temples are being made is being replicated on even a smaller scale, no? Para maging government offices, eskwelahan. Okay, so dumami yung ganitong structure during Hellenistic period. Ngayon, yung Hellenistic period, yan din yung nag-inspire sa mga Romans, no, nagayahin yung ganitong structure. Tapos i-improve nila. So the Romans adopted the columnar and truncated style of the Greeks and also developed the arc and vault, no, from the beginnings, made by Etruscans. This combined use of column, beam, and arc is a keynote of the Roman style in its earliest stages. Ngayon, yung mga Romans, kilala sila, no, dun sa paggamit talaga nila ng column, ng beam, tsaka ng arc, no, even in their own simple, yung mga houses nila. So, na-adapt nila, no, yung tradition, no, ng Hellenistic culture. And they were able to adapt it, no, even into their own houses. Now, kung maalala mo rin, no, most of the columns are actually following a tradition, no? Yung Doric Ionic Corinthian, which the Romans also adapted. And of course, they tried to assimilate it, no, in their own way. Okay? So yung nasa taas, yan yung sa Greeks. Tapos, yung nasa baba, yan yung sa Romans naman. Now, another na type ng architecture is yung Romanist architecture. Okay? So, Roman style of the 10th to 12th century was remarkable for the tentative use of new constructive principle, no? The deliberate articulation of structure in which each construction part played a designed role in establishing equilibrium. So the general character of the Roman style is sober and dignified, no? While formal massing depends on the grouping of towers and the projection of transepts and choir. The character depends on the employment of vaulting based initially, no, on Roman methods. Now, another type of architecture, no, will be Byzantine architecture. So, kung maalala natin, na-divide kasi yung Catholic Church, no, between Romans and the Byzantine Empire. Okay? So, yung mga Byzantine, they created, no, deviate no, from the tradition of how churches are actually built. So, kung maaalala natin, di ba, very columnar, very vertical yung mga churches. Pero, nung time ng Byzantine, nag-iba siya. Okay? So, the character of Byzantine architecture, which dates from the 5th century to the present, determined by the novel development of the dome to cover polygonal and square plans of for churches, tombs, and baptisteries. So, sila talaga sa kanilang ma-attribute yung bakit tayo may mga churches ngayon na domical yung system ng roof construction. Is in na contrasting, no, dun sa mga ginagamit ng early Christian na timber tassels. Okay? It may be broadly, no, stated that the basilican type of plan actually belongs to the Christian, while yung dome centralized plan, no, is from the Byzantine. Okay? Now, during 313 to 800, no, may shifting also din sa architecture ng panahon na to. Kasi yung early Christians continued old Roman tradition, pero kasi prosperity was declining back then. So may yung remnants ng early Christian architecture would be yung simplified, no, na temples. Okay, just as what we get to see here. So wala nang mga beams, no, talagang more on functionality na lang siya. Now also you have yung Islamic architecture, no? 7th century to the present day. Islamic architecture is a product of a major historic event and the rapid conquest of a diverse territories, you know, by a people with no architectural tradition and the conquest synthesis of styles under one philosophy, but in many different circumstances. The prime purpose is contemplation and prayer. Now, back to Renaissance, no? Renaissance architecture was brought about through the construction of aristocratic residences or palacios as well as the churches. Usually, 3-story high, you know, they were symmetrical with flat rusticated facade and regular ornamentation. This generally consisted of arches above the windows, in between them, at regular intervals, flat columns, no, called pilasters with capitals from the classical orders. The long straight line of the roof strengthened the massive horizontal emphasis of the structure. So basically, yung Renaissance, no, has something to do also with the way we see now, yung mga modern churches or yung mga contemporary churches natin. Now, noong 1494, no, to 1589, the special character, no, of this transitional period lies in the combination of Gothic and Renaissance features. Okay, to form picturesque, no, ensemble, such as the flying buttresses or the pinnacles. Now, noong 1589 to 1715, ayan, so bumalik yung paggamit ng mga beams, no, and columns. Okay, this period is notable, no, for dignity, sobriety, masculine quality of its foremost buildings, resulting to subordination of plan, composition, and detail, and the unity of the whole, and the charity and simplicity with which the elements were actually used. Now, currently, of course, most of our architectural design, no, in the contemporary times are actually a product of mixtures of inspiration coming from different countries, no? Normally, yung mga nakita niyo, for example, when you go to MOA, di ba? Na yung mga itsura ng mga dome doon, no? Itsura ng mga buildings doon Most of them are actually asymmetric, no? Evident only. Dati, technically, ano lang yan, no? Among buildings lang. Pero ngayon, even in houses, you get to see that asymmetrical plan being utilized as well, lalo na sa mga contemporary na mga bahay. Okay. So this can actually be associated with arts and crafts movement in England, and then eventually, kanya-kanya na ng interpretation of her content. And in the Philippines, we get to see that as well, in most of the contemporary buildings that we get to see, in our business districts. So last lang, in terms of Angeline, you're too late. 9:41 na. Can you just attend the 10:30 class instead? Tapos na yung lecture, no? So last is theater, no? So theater as a form of architecture, no, is ayan, is done, no, to really patronize, no, yung si God na si Dionysius. Kasi yung mga ancient Greeks, no, they worship this si Dionysius, and in worshiping Dionysius, they do a type of drama. So this was done, no, in theaters, no, yung mga ganitong open theaters back then. And technically, the kind of architectural design is still evident with the way we create theaters today. Okay. So that will be all, no, in terms of in terms of history, no, art history. Again, Angeline, you may actually attend na lang I'll remove you from this group. Is it okay? Because wala ka nang makukuha from this one, not unless you want to do the case study. Okay? Not repeat it for you. It's been 40 minutes that we have been discussing already. So either you attend and continue this, no, and just finish the let me